Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome back to the part 2 of the Parenting Masterclass. Let me read out something very interesting to you. Did you know there is a manipulative psychology used to design casinos to addict gamblers into gambling more? Yes. Let's have a look. How casinos use psychology to trick you into spending more. Intentional design choices in the casinos have an influence on the psychology of gambling. Casinos do not just use attention-grabbing slot machines to make guests sit down. These businesses apply a range of techniques, some proven by science, to put customers in a trance. And make them less aware of their spending. Here are just some of the casino tricks that make you spend more. Enticing design. Casinos are carefully designed to influence visitors' behavior. Many casinos are formed based on the principles set by Bill Friedman and Roger Thomas. Friedman, who once had a gambling addiction, studied the elements that made casinos successful. His strategy is known as classic casino design, and it focuses on using slot machines as the primary decor and creating intimate, windowless spaces. These cozy spaces are meant to feel like home and keep people playing for as long as possible. Friedman's design also includes labyrinth-like walkways lined with enticing games. This maze of slot machines is meant to disorient visitors and compel them to play as they try to find the bathroom or the exit. They would be trying to find a bathroom or exit, but they would find, they would come across a machine and they'll just forget that they were about to leave. Thomas puts less attention on slot machines and focuses more on making guests feel as relaxed as possible. His style, known as playground design, features high ceilings, beautiful decor, and easy-to-navigate layout. Like classic casino design, the playground style encourages people to stay longer and come back, despite how much money they lose. Lack of clocks and natural light. It is very easy to lose track of time in a casino because there usually are no windows or clocks to remind you how long you've been playing. So you don't even find out whether it's daytime or nighttime. That is by design. They do it deliberately. There are no windows and no clocks. When you don't think about time, you don't feel pressured to step away from the game and head home. You can lose yourself entirely in gambling and get into a zone. You get zoned out of dunya. See? You can lose yourself entirely in gambling and get into a zone. So first they use the word trance, and now they are using the word, you entirely forget, you lose yourself entirely in gambling and get into a zone. Individuals who have a gambling addiction may go to a casino specifically to escape into that zone. Oh my God. So this is like you get this addiction of being in that zone as well, not just gambling addiction. This is so dangerous. They might spend several hours at a single machine, trapped in a trance-like state and unable to feel the pain of life's problems. A moment of silence here. R.I.P. the younger generation and the adults of this time. They might spend several hours at a single machine, trapped in a trance-like state and unable to feel the pain of life's problems. Subhanallah. Third, stimulating lights and sounds. When you enter a casino, your senses are overwhelmed with exciting bright lights and the loud sounds of winning. This highly stimulating environment completely draws players in, enabling them to ignore the outside world and act before thinking about their losses. Oh my God. This highly stimulating environment completely draws players in. That sounds like the internet. The highly stimulating environment completely draws people in, enabling them to ignore the outside world and act before thinking about their losses. I mean, subhanallah, isn't that what people are doing? Completely lost themselves in the internet zone. Forgetting about their duties and their faraid, and subhanallah. Consider this study published in the Journal of Neuroscience. According to the study, reward-linked stimuli such as slot machine, lights and sounds can promote risky decision-making, particularly when audio and visual elements are used together. The researchers concluded these cues might promote problem gambling. Casinos also play background music to affect how people behave. For instance, a study of the Journal of Behavioral Addictions found that people who gambled while listening to a low-tempo soundtrack gambled longer because it had a relaxing effect. By contrast, those who heard high-tempo music had faster reaction times with betting. In other words, casinos can use music to encourage people to bet without thinking first. Astaghfirullah. Memorable scents. Think of the last time you've been in a casino. May Allah forbid that we ever go there, but maybe you can reimagine a scene from any video that you may have watched or a documentary. Think of the last time you've been in a casino. Can you remember how it smelled? Casinos might use scents to promote their brand, cover unpleasant odors, and get people to spend more. One study found that people put about 45% more into slot machines in odorized areas. Today, casinos waft scented oils throughout their ventilation system to make customers comfortable as they gamble and keep them coming back. People can even purchase the scent of their favorite casino. You'll find restaurants and bakeries in casinos too, creating the aroma of delicious food. When combined with dazzling lights and joyful sound of slot machines, casinos create a manufactured, blissful experience. This setting makes people want to stay and gamble. Subhanallah. 5. Near misses. Slot machines can be programmed to use near miss. This is so shocking. They design that you almost won. Near miss means that they make a person feel that they almost won, that they're this close to winning. Subhanallah, astaghfirullah, what a cheat these people are. Near misses. Slot machines can be programmed to use near misses or almost win feelings, which can keep players playing. A near miss is when someone comes very close to winning. A slot machine player might get 4 out of 5 symbols needed to win. Astaghfirullah. When they see they are only a symbol away from the top prize, they get filled with excitement. Even though they don't win the jackpot, they might believe they have a better chance of winning next time. So they may also fear that if they stop playing, they'll miss their opportunity to win big. Researchers investigated the effects of near misses on the brain and found that near misses stimulate the brain's reward system, despite no monetary reinforcement. So just the excitement of almost winning can be just as pleasurable as actual winning. This effect increases the desire to keep playing and may also be associated with a gambling addiction. Although the near miss trick might not work on everyone, it could strongly affect people suffering from pathological gambling. 6. Familiar concepts. Have you ever seen a slot machine modeled after a popular TV show? Slot machines are often based on familiar TV shows, games, places, and people to attract gamblers and make them feel comfortable playing. You might find Wheel of Fortune or Who Wants to Be a Millionaire slot machines, which evoke images of winning cash. These familiar concepts keep people playing even if they are using a complicated machine. The more they play, the more they lose. 7. Cashless games. When you play a slot machine, you will first feed cash into it. Your money is then converted into digital credits. When it's time to cash out, the machine will not give you your change. Instead, it will print a voucher. These convenient vouchers make it easier for guests to forget they're spending real money. Table games also use cashless methods to keep players playing by turning their cash into chips. It's easier to bet a large amount when you're playing with chips instead of real coins and dollars. It also hurts less to lose chips until you realize later that you actually lost money. How cunning, and how clever these people are. A sense of control. Some games give players a false sense of control. When you play craps, you get to roll the dice. Yeah. Likewise, when you play video poker, you get to choose which cards to keep. These more interactive games may cause some people to think that they have a better chance of winning because they have more control. This is just make believe. This is just like they're just creating the illusion that you have control, that you have no control. As a result, they might play longer, thinking they will eventually win back everything they lost. Truth is, no matter how much control you think you have over the game's result, the house ensures it ultimately wins. Astaghfirullah. Contact. Okay, now they have this info. Astaghfirullah. This is a foundation that deals with helping people get out of their gambling addictions. So casinos use psychology to trick you into spending more. And we just read through menacing design, lack of clocks and natural light, stimulating lights and sounds, memorable scents, near misses or almost wins, familiar concepts, fragrance like smell of big products and stuff. So they feel comfortable, they feel at home, light, cozy environment, cashless games, a sense of control. This is all fake. It's all fake. What a facade. They're just doing it. It's all an illusion. It's all an illusion. A fake illusion. And this is how internet is designed. This is how the social media is designed. The social media is designed, inspired by casino design. They use the psychology of casino design. This is so horrible news for parents. But let's stop and think first. How much internet and social media are the parents using these days? Now let me read this other article for you. It is from The Guardian. Social media copies gambling methods to create psychological cravings. Methods activate same brain mechanisms as cocaine and leads to users experiencing phantom notification buzzing, experts warn. They are trying to grab users' attentions, said Dr. Mark Griffith of the International Gaming Research Unit, to make social media users create a routine and habitually check their screens. Social media platforms are using the same techniques as gambling firms to create psychological dependencies and ingrain their products in the lives of their users, experts warn. These methods are so effective they can activate similar mechanisms as cocaine in the brain, create psychological cravings, and even invoke phantom calls and notifications where users sense the buzz of a smartphone even when it isn't really there. Facebook, Twitter, and other companies use methods similar to the gambling industry to keep users on their sites, says Natasha Schul, the author of Addictions by Design, which reported how slot machines and other systems are designed to lock users into a cycle of addiction. In the online economy, revenue is a function of continuous consumer attention, which is measured in clicks and time spent. Whether it is Snapchat streaks, Facebook, photo scrolling, or playing Candy Crush, Shul explained, you get drawn into lucid loops or repeated cycles of uncertainty, anticipation, and feedback, and the rewards are just enough to keep you going. If you disengage, you get peppered with little messages or bonus offers to get your attention and pull you back in. We have to start recognizing the costs of time spent on social media. It's not just a game. It affects us financially, physically, and emotionally. Recreating the slot machine. The pull to refresh and infinite scrolling mechanism on our news feeds are unnervingly similar to a slot machine, said a former design ethicist for Google, which has been described as the closest thing Silicon Valley has to a conscience. You pull a lever and immediately receive either an enticing reward, a match, a prize, or nothing, Harris wrote. We cannot know when we will be rewarded, and more often than not, we don't find anything interesting or gratifying, much like gambling. But that's precisely what keeps us coming back. The rewards are what psychologists refer to as variable reinforcement schedules, and is the key to social media users repeatedly checking their screens, said Dr. Mark Griffiths, a professor of behavioral addiction and director of Nottingham Trent University's International Gaming Research Unit. Social media sites are chock-a-block with unpredictable rewards. They are trying to grab users' attentions to make social media users create a routine and habitually check their screens. Like gambling, which physically alters the brain's structure and makes people more susceptible to depression and anxiety, social media use has been linked to depression, and its potential to have an adverse psychological impact on users cannot be overlooked or underestimated. For instance, phone dependency, driven by high social media usage, can lead us to think our phone is vibrating, or that we have been receiving a message even when we haven't. Like we haven't even received a message, but we would just feel as if we have received a message. All the time your attention is being drawn towards the social media or the phone. It is like an addiction. Phantom calls and notifications are linked to our psychological craving for such signals, said Professor Daniel Kruger, an expert in human behavior from the University of Michigan. These social media messages can activate the same brain mechanisms as cocaine does, and this is just one of the ways to identify those mechanisms because our minds are a physiological product of our brain. There are whole departments trying to design their systems to be as addictive as possible. They want you to be permanently online, and by bombarding you with messages and stimuli to redirect your attention back to their apps or web page. Tech insiders have previously said our minds can be hijacked and that Silicon Valley is addicting us to our phones, while some have confessed they ban their kids from using social media. However, the number of monthly active users of Facebook hit 2.13 billion earlier this year, up to 14% from a year ago. Despite the furor around this data privacy issues, the social media monoliths posted record revenues for the first quarter of 2018, making almost 12 billion, up to 49% increase on last year. A key reason for this is because Facebook has become so entrenched in our lives, we can't put it down. Behavioral psychologist Nir Eyal, the author of Hooked, How to Build Habit-Forming Products, has conceptualized how people become attached to social media. It starts with a trigger, an action, a reward, then an investment, and it's through successive cycles, through these hooks, that habits are formed. We see them in all sorts of products, certainly in social media and gambling. This is a big part of how habits are changed. Once a habit is formed, something previously prompted by an external trigger, like a notification, email, or any sort of ring or ding, is no longer needed, Eyal remarked. It is replaced or supplemented with an internal trigger, meaning that we form a mental association between wanting to use this product and seeking to serve an emotional need. The products are built to be engaged, and what's engaging for some is addictive for others. That's clear. This news is both eye-opening and depressing. So many people are being consumed by it's like quicksand, or it's like a black hole of social media that's consuming people. It's like you are not using social media, it's the media that is using you. And you don't even know. You're being fooled by them. And you feel that you're using it. But it is using you. Because the more clicks and the more watch time and the more money they make, and you're just wasting your life away while they make money on you. What a gamble. What a big gamble this is. Let's be honest. Did you read a juz today? A juz of the Quran today? In Arabic, it would take roughly 30 to 40 minutes. In English or Urdu, it might take 10 minutes. Did you read the Quran today? One juz. And did you use social media today? Most people would definitely have used it for more than 2 or 3 hours. In fact, like not even one. So we have to be honest with ourselves. There is an ayah in the Quran that the sin is greater than the benefit. It is used for gambling and alcohol. Their sin is greater than the benefit. Now my question is, if social media is designed on the design of gambling casinos, isn't the sin greater than the benefit? Shouldn't we imply that the sin is greater than the benefit? Think about it. Ponder over it. Think about it and find the answer yourselves. I was speaking to a lady, she's a little bit older than me, who spent more than 8 hours a day scrolling. She was so badly consumed by scrolling on the screen that she could not break away from she could not tell the difference between internet and reality. And this is exactly what they are trying to do. In the casinos, they are deliberately trying to cut off people from the outside world. There are no windows. People cannot tell the difference whether it's day or night. People just keep playing and playing and playing. In the casinos, people lose touch with the outside world. On the social media, people lose the sense of virtual versus reality. What is Metaverse? Metaverse is a fantasy world. But what is the deen of this fantasy world? Who is the king of this fantasy world? Who controls this fantasy world? Who controls the metaverse? Who is the lord of this metaverse? Who sets the rules and boundaries of metaverse? Where we are spending more and more and more of our time, that we lose track of reality. People are on social media, they don't offer salah, they don't read Quran, they are not doing their daily duties to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, towards other human beings. They are negligent, becoming more and more and more negligent. Then what is this social media? What is this metaverse? It's just a fantasy world created by people who want you to lose. What is the psychology of a casino in simple words for a layman? If I break it down. The psychology behind the design of a casino is that you lose, that you become a loser, that you become a great loser, not just a loser. The psychology is behind a casino that you gamble so much that you become a great loser. And who was the greatest loser that we have ever heard of? That was Shaitan. So when the psychology of a casino is applied by social media, it is designed to make sure that you are great losers. It is not going to help you achieve any of your goals. In fact, I have placed 2 modules based on the book Atomic Habits. And the writer, the author of Atomic Habits, says that it wasn't possible for him to write that book if he had not limited the use of social media. He went on to explain that he had given his manager instructions to change all his passwords, social media passwords, and not give them to him on the days that he has set off for writing. What a painstaking thing to do. I mean, he had to actually tell somebody else to take control of his phone so that he does not start using social media and be engulfed by it. You know, all smart people today are not social media users. And we hear that even the owners of these big companies like Apple and Microsoft, their children don't use internet. Their children don't even have a tablet. The daughter of Steve Jobs did not have an iPad. The owner of TikTok was asked why his children are not on TikTok. What does that tell us? As they say, a hint is enough for an intelligent person. Like अक्लमंद के लिए इशारा काफी होता है. How many more इशारे do you need? How many more hints do you need? The metaverse is controlled by people, and they do not serve your interests. You say something that goes against their policies, and you're banned or blocked and not promoted. Then you are also living in a fool's paradise because of algorithm that they have created. If you watch a cheesecake video, you will keep getting recommendations for a cheesecake video, but you will not find out what else is going on that is very dark and dangerous, and it is all happening on social media. But just because they have distracted you with a cheesecake video doesn't mean it's not happening. Just because they have hidden the snake out of sight does not mean that the snake isn't there. Think about it. So now that we know that social media can be like an anaconda about to engulf you, what are the tricks and tools that we can equip ourselves with in order to not let the social media hypnotize us into a trance that we lose track of reality versus virtual reality, and we become the biggest losers, may Allah forbid. So, first things first, we have to understand and acknowledge that it is dangerous. The harm is greater than the benefit. The harm is greater than the benefit. Think about it. We are going to be answerable for how and where we spent our time, of how and where we spent our health, our life, our energies, our potentials, where and how we spent it, How can we feel free to entertain ourselves endlessly, non-stop? How can we go on the roller coaster ride of looping one click, another click, another click, one video, another video, another video? I mean, this is not what a person does in a competition. Imagine somebody who is running a race. Imagine an athlete participating in a race. When they are racing, do they have time to stop in the middle of the race to pull out their mobile phones and have a look at them and then put them back in their pocket and then start running? No. They have a target to meet. When they start running, they don't stop till they have met the finish line. What is our finish line? Our finish line is Allah's happiness with us and Jannatul Firdaus, inshallah. Have we met the finish line? We have not even gotten close to the finish line. And we have limited time. We don't have forever. So we have very limited currency of time that we need to spend on winning this race and reach Jannatul Firdaus, inshallah ta'ala. We have no extra time to spend on any social media, any virtual reality. We cannot afford to become the biggest losers. Because Jannah is not an option. Hell is not a metaverse. It is real. So we have to remind ourselves that hell is as real as this dunya. It is not going to be a hell in Minecraft or a hell in a game, PlayStation. It is a real thing. It is a reality. So we should be mindful of that, and we should remember that perhaps when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has singled out Surah Kahf as a surah that will protect us from the fitna of Dajjal, and instruction He has laid out in Surah Kahf, one of them is, we see that the main subject matter of the surah is social boycott of some young men. It is a clear message for the youth, as I understand it, to boycott social media. It is of no benefit, or maybe the benefit is lesser than the evil. The youth, they boycott their society. We, even if we don't boycott the society, maybe what we can do is promote homeschooling and boycott the social media. Youth of this time should not be on social media. So how do we disengage from social media now that we know, and now that we have come to almost acknowledge its dangers? How do we disengage from social media? Well, first of all, it can be immediate, abrupt, but some people may not be able to do that. That can be gradual. Just like the withdrawal method for any addiction, we can use alternate activities. We can engage in physical activity. We can engage in a library membership or a gym membership, and we can start planning our day out. We can connect with nature. We can go for hiking. We can go for a vacation in the mountains. As we can see that the youth also took refuge in a cave in a hilly area or a mountain. Caves are in mountains, right? So maybe it's time to connect with nature. It's time to explore the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We can get into a hobby of gardening. We can get into a craft hobby. We can get into arts, calligraphy. We can get into many hobbies. There are many things that can be done if we just put our mind to it. And we can imagine in older times, people used to write books with handwritten books. There were no copied books or printed books on machines. There were handwritten books, even up to, I think, the late 1900s and even 2000, some years. People were writing books by hand. So take up a hobby, take up any hobby, any creative hobby, ideally some hobby that also is useful, beneficial for you and for humanity. Let's not get trapped and lost in the Jumanji of social media where everybody is trying to sell their own fish. It is a place full of malice, and we should restrict the use and do not become victims. We should not become addicted. Let's not let social media rob us. You know, these days, if somebody's gadget, mobile phone, or a gadget gets lost or misplaced, they get panic attacks. This is addiction. This is addiction. We should not let the social media engulf us. Like gambling, the social media was designed to defeat the purpose of our creation. That is to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to make us disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a place where people create scripted fake happiness videos so that we feel the desire of an almost got it, almost there, almost made it kind of a feeling. The fake sense of near misses. Constantly, the social media is creating this false hope that we can also be like somebody else. We can also be like somebody faking happiness on social media. This is exactly like the psychology behind the casino design, the near misses. Remember how the casinos don't have clocks so that people lose track of time? Social media is also a place where people lose the track of time. But we all have limited time. Prophet ﷺ said that when he says one salam of a salah, he does not know that he will be able or he will live to say the second salam of the salah. That is how much he remembered death. Tonight is going to be the first night of a 26-year-old Hafiz-e-Quran, Imam of Masjid, a young person, young religious man who passed away. May Allah make it easy on him. May Allah make his first night in his grave easy on him. Inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi raji'un. I'm almost double that age. But what is the guarantee that I will be here tomorrow? How can I lose myself in virtual reality? How can I be disillusioned about reality? How can I lose track of what is fake and what is real? Think about it and protect yourselves and your families from the fire. Allah Ta'ala says in the Quran, protect yourselves and your families from the fire. So are you doing that? علي قلبي ناديك رجاء ندمان لك يا رحمن